everybody. Have you ever had an idea or a project that was just about to come to fruition when you were hit with the challenge of capital? That warehouse that you needed to expand, or that piece of equipment to take you to the next level, or the cash infusion for inventory. Have you faced challenges like these at your most crucial moments? I have. I remember long nights, hard work, frustration, crying, feeling like I want to pull my hair out, and then getting an opportunity and needing the money. And I reached out to my bank, and can you guess what they said? That's right. And I didn't get my answer until I entered the lending space. Because it was frustrating, reaching out, asking for help, asking for my options, and when they said no, that was devastating. But when I entered the lending space several years ago, at the company I started with, I met with hundreds of business owners and I saw hundreds of applications. I listened to countless stories and hardships. And the most frustrating aspect was having to turn people away. Because remember, this was me too. So that constant question of, well, what do I do next? What are my options? That just didn't sit right with me. I'm Dominique, Business Capital and Funding Specialist, CEO and founder of DominoFX Group. I started DominoFX Group because I recognize the challenges that women, minorities, distressed areas, cannabis, and startups, these companies often face bias when seeking business funding. My vision is to change that narrative because I believe that every entrepreneur deserves a fair chance. And now let me hit you with some numbers. In the US, 42% of businesses are women-owned, half of those by women of color, employing 9.5 million people and bringing in 1.9 trillion in revenue. Black-owned businesses brought in 206 billion in revenue and supported 3.5 million jobs. Cannabis brought over 2 billion in 2023, and new market tax credits, 500 million was allocated to distressed areas and communities. Now, are you hearing these numbers? Millions, billions, and trillions. Can you imagine the possibilities? But now let me hit you with the facts and challenges. Minority-owned businesses are all but shut out of financing. In 2020 and 2021, white-owned companies were 2 to 3 times more likely to receive the funding that they had asked for. If you compare that to Black and Hispanic-owned businesses, majority received little to none of the funding that they had asked for. Now, if you ask me, that's a problem. And there's a number of reasons why these firms struggle to access the capital that they need, but I'm going to give you 3 obvious ones. And the first is branch closures in our communities, leaving us with useless, unreliable information, because this one had me spinning for over a year. I felt like I was going down the road to nowhere. And the second one is a lot of us don't even feel qualified to ask for the capital, so we're not asking. And the third is weak lending and banking relationships. This one is huge. A lot of underserved entrepreneurs are lacking these relationships, 39% in fact, and 21% have no idea where to access capital outside of their bank, literally no idea. And now I know that going into a bank is still a real fear for some, especially if you've been declined. That fear of rejection, it does play a big role. But what is the result? Well, the result is that underserved entrepreneurs will continue to be left out of the funding, or worse, they'll continue to seek bad financial advice and apply themselves into a rabbit hole or fall victims to predatory lending. I speak from personal experience. And at DominoFX Group, we believe in business owners. Our goal is to help businesses grow when they're having issues with the bank. Now, whether they already have funds with the bank, a line of credit, or if they fall within certain industry, or if they're a startup under 2 years and need money for a product. What if you're in the cannabis industry? You can't go to traditional banks because weed is still federally illegal and traditional banks are backed by the FDIC. New market tax credits, we're finding relatively low interest loans for companies that are providing jobs to these communities. If you are a company that is bringing employment and showing technical skills, then we are all in. We are looking for you. Because like I said, we believe in businesses. Their strength, their resilience, Building a business is hard, but sustaining it is even harder. And according to Forbes, small business lending is getting increasingly more expensive and harder to get. And big banks, lending at big banks has dipped from 13.5% in April to 13.4% in May. And approval rates at smaller banks is only at 18%. So essentially, big bank lending has stalled. And when I started this journey, I wanted to make a change. So I invested in myself and I had to pivot. And I started this company so that I could provide a service that would bring value and help that I needed. I had a lady reach out to me. She was from Irving, Texas. She owns a music school. And she was developing a product that was incorporating language and math and music. And she needed the funding for beta testing in the curriculum. But she knew two things. She knew that she had a great product and she wanted to do it without her husband. And so she reached out to us, and we had a discovery call, and I asked her some questions, and then she submitted her documents, and then my team went to work. And we were able to come up with a plan for her, because remember what I said, she knew two things. She knew that she had a great product, and she wanted to do it without her husband. Now, why do I say that? Because she qualified at the big bank if she included her husband. Now remember, but this was her business and her baby, and while they're happily married, that's what she said, she wanted to do it on her own. And so we were able to provide that for her. And that's what we want to provide for you. Because at DominoFX Group, we look towards the future. A future where your business potential is not limited by your background, industry, geography, or gender. My mission is to help underserved entrepreneurs access $1 billion in funding. Our mission at DominoFX Group is to provide those resources, customized and specifically tailored to underserved businesses and communities. Because by choosing us, you're not just accessing the funding, you're joining a supportive community, a community that celebrates diversity, empowerment, entrepreneurship, and fosters success. And let's be honest, traditional banks are not going anywhere. They'll always be around. Why? Because they can offer relatively low interest loans. And when I am speaking with a client, it's the first thing I ask. Because if you can go to the bank, you should, let's be honest. But the reality is, most are shut out from that option. So where does that leave us? Underserved, right? Businesses, women, minorities, cannabis industry, distressed areas, and startups. Where does that leave us? With no other option? Absolutely not. So that's what we do at DominoFX Group. We provide you with the opportunity, the option, the tools, the resources, and the funds to fuel the growth of your business. So check us out at DominoFXGroup.com. You can give us a call at 279-208-5385. But more importantly, you can check us out on YouTube, where we'll be posting all of our access to resources. And y'all, it is time. Time to break free, right, from the limitations imposed by the traditional funding system. So partner with us, where you'll feel empowered and confident, knowing that you have a dedicated ally supporting your dreams. Thank you.